It's NFL draft time once again, so narratives and speculation will finally settle. That is, until it's all said and done and Aaron Rodgers makes international headlines for Steelers-related reasons that make Ben Roethlisberger seem palatable by comparison. The 2025 NFL Draft features several future NFL stars, and so much uncertainty, this mock draft will likely end up in a paper shredder once it's all said and done. I am currently on location at my parents' house because I wanted to be in a more official setting for filming this.
It's because your apartment's flooded.
Shut the f*** up! Where will each team go? What will each team decide? Will anyone trade up? And I am too lazy to propose those. It's time to give it our best shot. And since the Titans have given us zero inclination that they'll take anyone other than Cam, let's get to business. With the first pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Tennessee Titans will select Cam Skattebo, running back, Arizona State. After losing Derrick Henry, the Titans need a powerhouse.
Sure, take this seriously.
Alright, fine. With the first pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Tennessee Titans will select Cam Ward, quarterback, Miami, Florida. Like mixing mayonnaise into coffee, the Titans drafting Will Levis was an experiment that failed miserably. The Titans have now found themselves right back at square one, as they are perhaps the most desolate team of any on this list. Their offense is putrid. Their O-line disappointed last year, though J.C. Latham had a fine rookie year. The defense was fine, but it couldn't overcome the deficiencies of the offense. Cam Ward isn't surrounded by a great foundation just yet, but he at least offers a fresh new beginning for a Titans team that has been a shell of itself since Derrick Henry walked away to Baltimore. Ward isn't the typical generational talent that comes with selecting a quarterback first overall. However, he has all the size and tools to become a perfectly above average starter in the NFL. The Titans badly need a reset, and Ward provides exactly that. With the second overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Cleveland Browns will select Travis Hunter, wide receiver defensive back, Colorado. As badly as they need a franchise quarterback, they have the same problem the Titans do. The team does not have a good foundation to support a quarterback. They are almost as desolate, but they have a few star pieces to offset the rest of the roster. They had to pay Myles Garrett $160 million and offer to let him pork Jimmy Haslam's wife whenever he wants just so he'd stay in Cleveland. They also have Denzel Ward, who has been awesome, and Jerry Jeudy, who had a breakout 2024. They need star power, and they need it badly. All signs point to them selecting Hunter to provide a spark to the passing game, whether it be on offense or on defense. They very much could select Abdul Carter, but bolstering a strength instead of a need is more fun for Twitter fan fiction than reality. Travis's ability as an NFL player is about as up in the air as any player in this draft, especially since he has a borderline sexual desire to play receiver and cornerback. But he has a really strong ability to be a top-tier player. Will he play both? It's hard to say. I'm not going to predict. I'm just a guy. With the third pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the New York Giants will select Abdul Carter, edge rusher, Penn State. Let the Shedeur Sanders free fall begin! Abdul Carter is one of four players who could realistically go first overall, but it likely will not happen with the Titans in desperate need of a fresh start at quarterback. They could take Shedeur Sanders, but there are enough options who will be available in round 2 or later that taking the best player available in round 1 would be a much better move. They also could trade, who knows. They also signed Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston, so their need for a franchise quarterback isn't immediate. Abdul Carter is a monster pass rusher in a draft full of incredible defensive linemen that would immediately provide a weapon on the D-line for a team that has historically had plenty of them. He has the ability to be an edge rusher or an outside linebacker, and he would be an immediate impact starter in either spot. With the fourth pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the New England Patriots will take Will Campbell, offensive tackle, LSU. The Pats spent money like crazy in free agency, but the one spot they didn't address was perhaps their weakest position, and no, we aren't referring to the boyfriends of their former cheerleaders. Their offensive line per PFF was the second worst in the NFL in terms of pass protection, and the worst in the NFL in terms of run blocking. Will Campbell is the best offensive line prospect in this draft, even though his arms are 2 millimeters shorter than ideal, which is a death sentence for an NFL prospect. He has the ability to play anywhere on the line and has all-pro potential if he lives up to it. With the fifth pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars will select Mason Graham, defensive tackle, Michigan. Jacksonville's defense spent all of 2024 running wind sprints trying to catch up with opposing offenses, and winning on defense starts in the trenches. Trayvon Walker's been pretty good, but he hasn't been Aiden Hutchinson level good, and Josh Hines-Allen is now a veteran in the league. To maintain at least a little bit of longevity and integrity, they can address their secondary later on in the draft, and they'll draft Mason Graham, who's the betting favorite to be the top interior lineman in this year's draft. And speaking of defenses running wind sprints trying to catch up to opposing offensive players, with the 6th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Las Vegas Raiders will select Ashton Jeanty, running back, Boise State. Ashton Jeanty was an outstanding running back at Boise State who very much could have won the Heisman had Travis Hunter not been pretty good at playing two positions. The Raiders are in desperate need of an offensive spark, and a running back who necessitates a 6th overall pick is much more of a slam dunk than a quarterback in that same draft slot. Look at the draft 6 years ago if you don't believe me. The Raiders' running back depth chart is about as threatening as the montage of dogs in any given Sarah McLachlan commercial. Going from Alexander Madison, who's everyone's favorite RB2 from 3 years ago, to Ashton Jeanty would be a monstrous upgrade. With the 7th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the New York Jets will select Armand Membo, offensive tackle, Missouri. The reset button has been hit once again by the Jets in terms of quarterback, and Justin Fields has been acquired to become the starter. I look forward to finding out who will be the starter in 2027. Maybe Arch Manning, Daniel Jones, Christian Hackenberg Jr. Can't be me though. I'm 5'9", I have accuracy issues, and my wrist is currently sprained as fuck. By selecting the right tackle from Missouri, he would spend the next decade plus providing ample protection for the Jets, what I'm assuming will be the next 6 starting quarterbacks. With the 8th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Carolina Panthers will select Jalen Walker, linebacker, Georgia. Just get any player you can, Carolina. Their defense struggled badly in 2024, and Georgia defenders are usually Lewis Cine, a very, very safe bet to succeed at the next level. While Walker didn't play one singular position in college, the Panthers have an opportunity to figure out where a player like Walker could fit best. He's a versatile defender who is good in coverage, and the Panthers need help anywhere they can get. With the 9th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints will select Jahdae Barron, cornerback, Texas. I don't envy the Saints right now. They're stuck in quarterback purgatory with Derek Carr, salary cap purgatory with aging stars, but they don't have a dire need at receiver with Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed returning from injury, and Alvin Kamara still has some juice left in the tank at running back, and their offensive line is improving. Their defense, on the other hand, absolutely needs help. After losing Marshawn Lattimore at the trade deadline, they need a new player to make angry faces at Mike Evans. Jahdae Barron is arguably the best cornerback in the draft and has very few weaknesses to his game. He could be a cornerstone player in New Orleans for years to come. With the 10th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears will select Will Johnson, cornerback, Michigan. The Bears already made one big acquisition of a guy named Johnson, so why not go after another? Will Johnson is your typical do-everything cornerback. He's got a good frame, and he can go toe-to-toe with some of the best wide receivers in the game. Chicago has invested heavily in their offensive line and their defensive line in the offseason, so getting a player like Johnson would give them a standout defensive back for years to come. With the 11th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the San Francisco 49ers will select Jahad Campbell, linebacker, Alabama. The 49ers lost an unreal amount of talent in free agency, particularly on defense. Perhaps the most underrated of these players was Dre Greenlaw, who followed Talanoa Hufanga to the Broncos. They need to replace him as much as possible, and Campbell is an apt fit at 11th overall. With the 12th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Dallas Cowboys will select Matthew Golden, wide receiver, Texas. Is it possible that Ted McMillan is the first receiver taken in the draft? Of course. However, Matthew Golden's fast 40-yard dash time makes him a prime candidate to not only be taken above McMillan, but be taken by the in-state squad. He could be a perfect complement to the do-everything player that is CeeDee Lamb, and Dak Prescott would have his next long-time weapon. With the 13th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Miami Dolphins will select Kelvin Banks, offensive tackle, Texas. Terron Armstead retired. With the 14th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Indianapolis Colts will select Tyler Warren, tight end, Penn State. Penn State is second fiddle to Iowa in terms of being the NFL's tight end U. The Colts desperately need a weapon for Anthony Richardson, as he's the kind of quarterback that the Colts forgot to convert to tight end. Their current starter is Kevin Ogletree, who is, and no disrespect, not the impact player the Colts need at the position. A selection of Warren or any other of the top tight end prospects that may be available in the first round would be an instant upgrade. With the 15th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Atlanta Falcons will select Mike Green, edge rusher, Marshall. The Falcons needed a pass rusher in last year's draft and ended up going with their potential franchise quarterback in Michael Penix Jr. Instead, which caused my cell phone to put a dent in my friend's couch, because that's how hard I threw it. With the litany of defensive linemen available in round 1, they take Green, who comes with some character concerns, but led the nation in sacks in 2024. With the 16th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Arizona Cardinals will select James Pierce Jr., edge rusher, Tennessee. There are also whispers of character concerns with James Pierce Jr., but his talent speaks for itself. He's a two-time first-team All-SEC member, and he totaled 43 hurries, which was tied for third in the nation in 2024. The Cardinals desperately need to upgrade their pass rush to compete in the NFC South, and if he can overcome his red flags, Pierce could be the best edge defender in the draft, not named Abdul Carter. With the 17th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Cincinnati Bengals select Walter Nolan, defensive tackle, Ole Miss. The Bengals have a bunch of defensive tackles who could stop the run, but pressuring the quarterback, totally different issue. The Bengals have a Trey Hendrickson problem right now, and he accounted for nearly 50% of the Bengals' sack production in 2024. With Sheldon Rankins turning out to be a major swing and a miss signing last year, the Bengals desperately need a game-changing defensive tackle who excels in both defending the run and rushing the passer. With the 18th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Seattle Seahawks select Tyler Booker, guard, Alabama. Sam Darnold was signed to Seattle, and they did almost nothing to address their offensive line in the process. They have to address exactly that if they want to ensure that Darnold doesn't have another Jets-esque tenure. JSN and Cooper Kupp will team up to be a solid receiver core for Darnold, but to guarantee that he has more than 1 second to deliver a pass, they must address their offensive line. Booker is the best guard prospect in the draft, and he may very well be a part of Seattle's draft plans. With the 19th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Michael Williams, edge rusher, Georgia. Aside from a roof at Tropicana Field, Tampa doesn't have a whole lot of pressing needs. Their pass rush was perfectly fine in 2024, but injuries caused Tampa's defense to struggle at times. Michael Williams is a decent best player available selection, and he would be a good fit in Todd Bowles' defense. With the 20th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Denver Broncos will or may select Tet McMillan, wide receiver, Arizona. Denver's biggest need, without question, is a major group of skill players. Omarion Hampton is not a bad choice for here by any means, especially with their lack of depth at running back currently, but the 2025 NFL Draft is a really good time to have a need for a running back, as it's a particularly deep class. They need receivers outside of Cortland Sutton and an ascending Marvin Mims, and Tet McMillan could go anywhere from the top 10 to later in the first round. But given his potential and big body, McMillan would be a really solid choice to be a weapon for Bo Nix. With the 21st pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers will select Shedeur Sanders, quarterback, Colorado. Shedeur Sanders has the most varied draft position of any player in this draft. He could go in the top 3, but he could also slide out of the first round entirely. The Steelers have an immediate need at quarterback, regardless of whether or not they sign Aaron Rodgers. Shedeur Sanders has the skill set to be an above-average starting quarterback in the NFL, and he will be surrounded with good weapons in DK Metcalf and George Pickens. He has an accurate arm and a good loft on his deep ball, and Pittsburgh will give him an opportunity to prove to the general populace that he is not a system quarterback, with the system being his dad. With the 22nd pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Los Angeles Chargers will select Colston Loveland, tight end, Michigan. The Chargers' current tight end depth chart looks more like a group of catchers than starting caliber tight ends. Colston Loveland has experience being coached by Jim Harbaugh at Michigan, he knew that one was coming, and would be both a weapon for Justin Herbert and a blocker that Jim Harbaugh can't get enough of. With the 23rd pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Green Bay Packers will select Luther Burden, wide receiver, Missouri. The Packers walked away from the "can I get a wide receiver one for your roster" sweepstakes completely empty-handed in free agency, especially since the majority of teams retain their stars. Luther Burden, whose name sounds like J. Edgar Hoover's nickname for Martin Luther King, is a big play threat who would be an immediate upgrade for Jordan Love. He can catch passes at all levels of the field and is a massive threat with the ball in his hands in the open field. With the 24th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Minnesota Vikings select Malachi Starks, safety, Georgia. The Vikings' biggest need is in the secondary, and it will be an even bigger need once Harrison Smith retires. While Vikings man may have seen enough of safeties from Georgia, Starks is consistently ranked high on draft boards and has been compared to Jesse Bates, who is one of the best safeties in the NFL. I miss him dearly. He's outstanding in coverage, an excellent run defender, and has very few weaknesses to his game. He may not fall this far, but if he does, the Vikings would be getting a home run of a player. With the 25th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Houston Texans will select Emeka Egbuka, wide receiver, Ohio State. The Stephon Diggs experiment did not last long at all. Now that it's over, the Texans have to replace him. They very much could take an O-lineman here, but with their acquisition of Cam Robinson, wide receiver may be their most immediate need. Egbuka is not the fastest, strongest, or most physically gifted receiver in this year's draft, but he's a very smart football player who has familiarity with CJ Stroud. With the 26th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Los Angeles Rams will take Josh Simmons, offensive tackle, Ohio State. There's a very possible scenario that the Rams trade down from this spot, but assuming they don't, they could use a spot on a player who fills the BPA slot, as they don't have a ton of needs. Simmons was a powerful blocker at Ohio State and has very few weaknesses to his game. Giving Matthew Stafford protection would give the Rams an opportunity to address their defense on day 2 of the draft, where there are a litany of cornerbacks and linebackers. With the 27th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Baltimore Ravens will select Kenneth Grant, defensive tackle, Michigan. To win in the AFC North, you have to be able to win in the trenches. After signing Nnamdi Madubuike to a big contract, continuing to bolster their defensive line with a player like Grant would be an excellent move for the Ravens. While their biggest need is a lawyer for Justin Tucker, they could also use this pick on a player in the trenches. Grant is the kind of player who could go in the middle of the first round, but if he falls, the Ravens' defense would be even stronger than it already is. With the 28th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions will select Shamar Stewart, edge rusher, Texas A&M. Aiden Hutchinson is coming off of a major injury, and his replacement, Zadarius Smith, is no longer with the team as he entered free agency. Getting a hugely impactful player like Shamar Stewart, who absolutely dazzled at the NFL Combine, would give the Lions a stout pass rushing duo that would hugely bolster its Super Bowl chances. With the 29th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Washington Commanders will select Omarion Hampton, running back, North Carolina. The Commanders are such a fun team to watch, and getting Jaden Daniels, a star player in the backfield, would be a major addition. Omarion Hampton is the second best running back in this draft class behind Ashton Jeanty, and he's a powerful running back who can be a true 3-down player if need be. They could absolutely address their defense here, but passing up a rock-solid player like Hampton would be no easy task for Dan Quinn, especially if he falls to 29. With the 30th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Buffalo Bills will select Donovan Ezeiruaku, edge rusher, Boston College. The Bills didn't have a true impact pass rusher in 2024, and now their need for one is even bigger with Von Miller on the market. Ezeiruaku is a lighter prospect, but he still had a very good 2024 season in terms of sack production. Putting him opposite Greg Rousseau, who himself just got a massive payday, would help a Bills defense that was solid but occasionally had major struggles last year. With the 31st pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Kansas City Chiefs select Gray Zabel, offensive tackle, North Dakota State. The Chiefs' O-line was so depleted in the stretch run of 2024, it was referenced by none other than John Oliver. Now that Joe Thuney has departed for Chicago, they need to ensure that Patrick Mahomes isn't running for his life from defenders and/or Rashee Rice's car. Zabel is a smaller prospect, but he's agile and has a fluid technique. He has the ability to play anywhere on their O-line, and the Chiefs could use all the help they can get. And finally, with the 32nd pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Philadelphia Eagles will select Nick Scourton, edge rusher, Texas A&M. Losing Josh Sweat is no easy thing to recover from, but luckily this draft is rich with defensive linemen who could help the move-on process go smoothly. Scourton regressed from 23 to 24, but he still has the potential to be a good starter in the league, and the Eagles need to recover after losing both Sweat and Milton Williams in free agency. Scourton would be a wise choice to round out the first round. And that'll do it for my round 1 mock. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you like this video, you can click the like button, you can subscribe to the channel, and click the bell to get notifications every time I upload a video. And stay tuned for more sports content that you didn't ask for.